And we're back. So I called into work today because when I was about to head to work, got a knock on my door and they had the AC guy come back. It was making a rattling, screeching noise about a week ago. Called them, had it off because we didn't really need it anyway. Didn't want it to burn itself out. And then, I turn it back on and everything's fine. But anyway, he came and replaced the blower motor because that's probably what it was. Found a couple of rats in there while he was at it, dead ones. So that is resolved. We also got some rain the other day, and we did get water in the basement again. Not as much as last time. It wasn't quite as big of a storm, but we did definitely get some. So while he was here with the AC guy, our local complex guy also went ahead and put some concrete patch on the wall, which didn't do a whole lot because it rained after that, and it obviously didn't have enough time to cure because now it's run all over the floor. So I gotta give them a call. But anyway, the main point for all that is I called in because I only had like 3 hours of sleep. Wasn't really ready to go back to work. So now I'm here all by myself without the wife. I'm gonna go ahead and get some more measurements done. It's 5:30 now. She'll be home in about 2 hours. That should give me enough time to get an Odyssey run in as well. Hopefully, anyway. But a couple other updates while we're at it. I went ahead and re-put the glide back in. Last time you guys saw it, it had just been kind of hung there just as a placeholder to kind of see how I liked it. I actually went ahead and stuck it down now. I think it looks pretty good. Cabling's all set up behind the curtain, so you won't see that. And you can also see, since the last couple of videos, I haven't actually moved that bar yet. Remember, the bar is supposed to go over here. One, I didn't necessarily want it being exposed to water if we should get some more. But more importantly, obviously that back speaker isn't going to be able to sit there if the bar is not there until I get the wall up. So until I get the cutout, I'm probably going to leave that there anyway. That also gives them more room to work on this repeated water issue until they get it actually resolved. We went ahead and decided that those blue panels, like I said, are probably going to go back here somewhere. Not really sure where exactly. Possibly on that back wall. I think it's going to look better over here as a feature wall, though. But we also have some art and stuff we want to put up, so not entirely sure where we're going with that yet. The other thing back here I wanted to show you is, remember I said we couldn't really do a curtain here because of the AC duct and everything? Well, I did have a short rod that I actually took from work from an old, it was like a hat stand or whatever. So what I think I'm going to end up doing is I had some wrong sized curtains sent over because I was using Amazon warehouse. And the first set they sent me were the wrong length. And I was thinking about sending them back, but they were such a good deal. And I figured I could use 42-inch or 63, whatever they were, somewhere. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to stick them up here, just kind of rest it on the beam here, and then on the back side of the wall, when it's in place, I'm going to put a hook on this side, so they'll go across, and I can't do this one-handed, but they'll go across the door like that. Now, I'm not going to touch the floor, but I'd rather there be a gap behind me than there being a bunch dragging on the ground. So I think that's going to be the solution for that. It'll complete the look, it'll complete the sound, blocking, dampening, whatever. And like I said, I mean, it's going to be pretty much to the floor, close enough anyway. So I think that'll look pretty good. What else? So yep, I'm gonna go ahead and get some new measurements, at least the way it is right now, with the curtains closed and without the back wall. Then I'm going to do a measurement with the back wall. It won't have the cutout, but at least it'll give me more or less what it's going to be, minus the rear foam. That's going to be something I'll have to test for later, because I don't really want to mount the foam until I have the cutout, just so the vibration doesn't mess up the bond. Speaking of foam, I went ahead and put up the acoustic panels up here. So that completes my front. It actually goes from the very top of the screen, then double-sided foam pad to the ceiling. I had to cut out for a couple of pipes, but that's going to be below the little drop ceiling that I'm doing. So you won't even really see any of those cutouts. It goes mostly to the end. It has a slight gap. I might, if I have extra, which I should, just cut the very small piece of foam I need there. But honestly, with the curtain right there and the drop ceiling going in, I think it'll be alright. A couple other little things I did. We have an HDMI cable coming upstairs now. So this cable right here comes from the AVR as a zone 2 through the beam, up the stairs, under the door, into the Sony A80J. Which my living room's a mess, as if the basement isn't. So I don't really want to show that at the moment. But so now I can watch a duplicate video stream upstairs if we're entertaining guests or something. Haha. Or the other thing I can do is, on the rare occasion that we actually want to watch TV, this complex does give us DirecTV included with our internet fee, which is 1 gig up, 1 gig down for like $70. So I don't even care about the TV. That's a good deal in and of itself. But it does come with DirecTV and some basic channels. So I got my box set up, which you can't see because it's got a bunch of crap in the way, like the monitor and the remote. But it's down there. So, on the rare occasion that I want to catch live news or something, I thought I was going to watch the Olympics, but ended up not bothering this year. But anyway, that's hooked up, and I can watch that upstairs. I thought it was one of the newer DVRs. Well, not DVR. I thought it was one of the newer boxes, one of the new Genies, where I could actually cast to it from my phone. So basically you browse the guide on the phone and then tell it to watch on the receiver. Unfortunately, it doesn't have that capability. And I mean, the directory box is free with the account. I didn't really want to pay them any extra. So I'm going to have to come down here with the IVR, the infrared remote, change the channel, and then watch it. So it's not ideal, but like I said, for the once or twice a year at most we're going to use it, it's fine. But I got that set up. The other thing I did is, now that I actually have the foam panels up here, I actually can very easily see that the screen is even. So, before I was just kind of eyeballing it, but now I actually have a little bit of an edge that I can follow. So that got pushed back a smidge, which allowed me to actually back off the zoom on the projector a little bit, so it's not maxed out anymore, which also allowed me to get the alignment set up a little bit better. So it's a lot closer than where it was. Still not 100% perfect, still kind of skews down to the one corner, but it doesn't cast on the curtains anymore. I can see the yellow border all the way around, both in its regular and its 235 shifted positions. I refocused it, even though it didn't really need it. It's pretty sharp. So I think that projector's in its final configuration as far as lens position. I resaved both 1 and 2 just to make sure it had the final adjustments. So that's done. So that's it for this particular section. I'll go ahead and get my laptop open, rerun brew like this, run brew with the back wall sort of in place. That curtain bracket, I had to order a bigger one because it's the 1.5 inch curtain rod versus my 1 inch other rod. That should actually be here today. And there's 2 other sections to this back wall. There's another full sheet that the projector cutout goes into, and then there's another tiny sheet on the end. I'll probably leave the tiny sheet up and get that mounted, since that is where the curtain's going to connect to. The speaker, unfortunately, goes on the big section. I might just get a manual saw or go to the in-laws and borrow his jigsaw instead of bringing the wood back and forth. I didn't really want to cut it here for mess reasons, but moving the saw is going to be a lot easier than trying to move the wood. But to be determined. That's all I had for the moment. I'll come back when I get the measurements for the 2 things. I'll show you those. And then I'll get Odyssey going. I got to get out my tablet, make sure it's charged, because I'm going to run Odyssey on there, the EQ editor. And I figured out, well, I was told that you have to do the calibration completely through the app in order to get like the curve editor and stuff. So I'm glad I didn't run, 11 times 8 measurements and then realize I have to go ahead and redo it. So there's that. I'll leave it here for the moment. Like I said, we'll go ahead and get my laptop out, run those REW measurements just to have a baseline before Odyssey. And like I said, I haven't run it since the screen's been up and the curtains are in place. I'm kind of curious how that's going to compare. And then we'll go from there. So see you in a bit with that clip. And that'll be probably it for this video. I'll probably do Odyssey as a separate thing. We'll see. It's already getting kind of long though. Well, obviously nothing's perfect. I'm sure the microphone's not in exactly the right position, or same position rather. I know the speakers have been moved back an inch or 2 to make room for the screen, moving back a little bit because they were poking a little. You can see the crease a little bit. But apparently I did actually record pre and post the screen. I don't specifically remember doing that, but I have things saved that says I did. So that's pretty dang close. And then the one I just did is right here. So I was actually sent a comment to the Audioholics, one of their live streams, about curtains when they had the sound guy on. Was it Anthony something? Or from Audi? The sound guy that was doing all the acoustic treatments. But I don't really see a high-end, high-frequency issue. I mean, they're kind of following the same roll-off they were even before the curtains were up. So, even if it is adjusting it, first off, I think Odyssey can EQ it. It rolls off the highs anyway. And aesthetically, I need them, and I think they look good. So I'll sacrifice a little bit of audio if I need to. It doesn't even really look like I am. I'm not really sure what's going on below 80 hertz here. Now, like I said, these towers don't really do below 80 hertz anymore with the integrated subwoofers damaged and non-functional. They're going to get crossed over at 80 anyway. So I don't know if the under 80 from before was playing with the subwoofer, and now the subwoofer is just off or something. I do have it in direct mode right now, so I doubt I doubt REW setting it into the LFE. I might need to change the sound mode if I'm worried about it. I'm not really sure I even want the subwoofer affecting this, but I guess I'll run one just to kind of get it consistent before I put up the walls. And then I'll show you that as well. But yeah, that's where it is. So the top line, that top one is the current measurement with all the curtains and stuff up, and the front acoustic treatment. So yeah, it doesn't look like anything's being hindered too much so far. Give me a minute and I'll be back in a second. Oh, that looks better. I just don't think I really changed anything. I remeasured it, and that's what I'm getting now. Maybe the subwoofer just hadn't activated yet. It is set to auto, so more than likely that first sweep it hadn't kicked in yet. But I was playing a song just to kind of make sure that the sub was working, and it seemed like the left side didn't really have the same amount of treble as the right side. So just out of curiosity, it's only running in stereo right now. I'm not really sure how to make this output not stereo. Also, for the record, I went ahead and left the optical cable just for consistency, since the new receiver has optical in also. Just for the comparisons back and forth. When I actually do my final calibrations and match it, it's before and after Odyssey, I'll probably switch to HDMI. But anyway, back to the original point. I tested the left versus the right, and we had that. So obviously the left speaker, which is the one that I heard having the issue, definitely has a huge drop off in the treble. So maybe the tweeter took a hit in the move as well. I'm gonna have to switch some cables around and make sure it's not anything with the AVR. If that's the case, I'm not really sure what to do about it. I mean, I didn't really notice it much in content. I mean, I did notice it in the song just now, but as far as movies and stuff, it seemed fine. But if I can't make it go away, and it's not just a temporary thing, I might be after some SVS Prime Pinnacles sooner than I thought. I guess, like I said, for the moment, it's okay. I wasn't really noticing it in content. It's far enough away, and there's so many other speakers. 75-80% of the workload in movies is done by the center channel anyway. So I might be able to live with it for a while, because I don't really want to drop $2 grand on a new set of front stage speakers right now, considering all the other money I've been spending. But obviously it's not ideal, and if you spend all this other money on all this other stuff and you got a bum speaker, it kind of defeats the purpose. But all things in perspective, like I said, I didn't really notice it until just now. So either it's a new thing and I can fix it, or it's not impacting day-to-day content enough with everything else going on where I'm gonna have a panic attack. These things are 15, 20 years old, something like that, from the time I bought them. And unfortunately I spent the last 5 years plus in storage, so you only got to use them for 2/3 of that time. But, for the most part, the majority of the system, I think I paid I want to say $3,500 for the 4 surrounds, the 2 towers, the center, and my 9300, Marantz SR9300. And I'm still using everything of that, including the amplifier. So it's not exactly like it was money poorly spent or anything. But let me do some troubleshooting and see if I can't figure out what's up with that dip. Confirm that it actually is the speaker and not just a bad cable or a loose connection or something. And then I'll get back to you. Thank you. Okay, I'm not really sure what to make of that. I guess it's good news. So I just switched the left and right XLRs on the back of the MM7055 and reran left and right measurements. And so here's the original right, which is a good line on what I'm trying to get back to. The left, when playing a right signal, is exactly the same. Actually, let me rephrase that. The right playing the left signal is exactly the same as the original measured left. So that's this guy on the bottom here. I basically got 3 measurements all doing the exact same thing. I reran the original left, So that's the original one. I ran it twice just to make sure it wasn't a fluke, and I got that. And then I ran the left out of the right speaker, and I got that. Pretty close. Just a little off, which I would expect because, you know, it's the other side of the room and everything else. So that shows something is up with the left channel in playback, whether in the amp or in the laptop. I don't know, I need to troubleshoot. But when I do the right channel, which is now coming out of the left speaker, I get the one in the middle. So obviously the tweeter is performing better than I thought, but it's still not quite as good as the right coming out of the right. So maybe there's a minor issue with the speaker. It could just be run variance, although every other time I've rerun a test it was exactly the same, so I don't think it's that. But there's for sure something going on with the left audio output somewhere, whether the laptop, the amplifier, or the AVR. Not real sure which, and not entirely sure how I'm going to narrow that down. I guess I will try maybe doing RCA versus, I don't know, I'll figure it out. But that's where we are currently. So the speaker's doing better than I thought, but still not quite where it needs to be. And either way, I got to figure out what's going on with the left channel. So it's going to take some legwork. But at least I know the speaker's not totally trashed. So that's a good thing. Alright, see in a bit if I get an answer. Okay, crisis averted. I'm really glad I figured that out before I pulled my hair out too far. How many of you figured it out before me? So before I actually show you what the issue was, first off, there is my left and my right. They track pretty dang close. So there is the right. And there's the left. I mean, it's practically the same line. So, fun fact, this one over here is actually my left surround channel. I don't know, at some point in the process when I was flipping cables around, probably right when I flipped them, I switched the right with the surround left instead of the front left. So I think that's where that middle line that was coming from, the one that was kind of in between the two. So it doesn't quite have the same treble response as my huge ass towers, but I guess I'm not really surprised. But still, actually not too bad. So what was the issue with the speaker? Well, I did measure it after I resolved the issue, and those are the measurements I got, where they're exactly the same. When I was walking back, well, first off, how did I figure out that it was the surround channel? I started playing an Avicii song again. It's like, why is it suddenly in surround sound? I'm hearing it out of my left surround. Wait, it's not playing out of any of the other surrounds, and it doesn't upmix. So then I figured out that it was the cables for that. And then when I was coming back around, I saw the curtain. And I looked over, and I was like, crap, the curtain is in front of the tweeter. So as soon as I do that, everything's back to normal. Sounds perfectly like I remember it. That's why I didn't really notice or remember the issue from before, because there wasn't a curtain in front of it. When he was over here doing the patch job, he got the curtains out of the way, which I appreciate, thank you. But they were in front of the tweeter. That's why it sounded different. That's why it's measuring weird. So, I have verified that these curtains are not acoustically transparent. which is good. They're not supposed to be. They're actually supposed to be noise mitigating. And apparently they're working, at least for the high frequencies. So there. That's resolved. So now I can go back, now that I've killed like close to an hour doing that. I can hopefully go ahead and do the Odyssey thing. I know it takes like 45 to an hour, and I haven't even downloaded or bought the app yet. I don't really want to get interrupted when the wife comes home. So I don't know if I'm going to start that or not, because I still got to put up the wall, measure with the wall up, and stuff like that. So Odyssey might have to wait. That'll be another video anyway. But there you go. So my left and my right measure is pretty good, close to the same, damn near identically as far as I can tell. So speakers are fine. I don't get to buy SVS Prime Prinicles, which is, you know, both good and bad. I wouldn't mind some new speakers, but down the road, this is fine for now. More than fine, honestly. I should be blessed with what I have. So there's that, and that's going to take care of at least this set of measurements. Like I said, I'll go ahead and put up the wall, check those here at the end, just to see if that back reverberation really matters any. I wouldn't think it's going to make a whole big difference, because, I mean, there's a concrete wall back there anyway. We're just replacing it with a wood wall a couple feet closer. But it'll be interesting to see. Also, the GoPro's down at 16%. Last time I did that, it died at like 10%. So I'll probably try to get a new battery in here, although it's going to be a real short clip just to show the measurements with the wall. Maybe I'll chance it. We'll see how it goes. But yay, speakers are working, and I didn't have to do a whole lot of wire troubleshooting to figure that out, fortunately. Thank heavens. Well, that went as expected. Yesterday, I didn't actually get to do much after that last segment. I got the walls going, which caused me some challenges because there's not a lot of room to work down here at the moment. And by the time I got done with that, then the wife came home and I didn't really do much else. So I am now on the other GoPro battery, because in the time that it's been off, it went from 16% to 4%. And there's no way that was going to do anything for me. It's interesting how it drains. It's because it's got Wi-Fi and stuff. But anyway, I went ahead and reran the final measurements. So the top one is with the subwoofer. The bottom one is without the subwoofer. I've figured out if I put it in direct mode, it doesn't do anything, including the low pass to the crossover to the speakers, which I kind of thought it did. So I had to just put it in straight stereo mode, and then the subwoofer kicks in. So that is the current response for the right channel, at least, with all of the final wall and everything else. Obviously that bass bump's going to get smoothed out once everything gets calibrated. The sub is running a little hot, which, you know, I like some oomph, but at least I'll calibrate it to baseline and then go from there. Last measurement I took was the one I'm basically going to go off of. It's my left and right sum. So this is the response with all of the curtains up in the wall. The wall, not so much. The flooring might change a little bit. Like I said, I'm not really sure if I'm going to keep that black runner or if I'm going to do something along the lines of more of the foam. And I don't have the center, these guys, the center thick panels up yet. I did go ahead and order a jigsaw from Amazon. Amazon Renewed had a Black & Decker for like 20 bucks. I figure, you know, I have a home now. Can't run into the in-laws every time I need a power tool, so figure 20 bucks I'll get one. That'll be enough to cut this panel that I need for the projector hole. And then I could even cut the legs for the shelf for the center channel that I'm gonna go ahead and build. So I figured it was a decent investment, and for 20 bucks, I mean, I've spent a lot more money on this home theater than that, so what's another 20 at this point? So these two responses are If I remember right, yeah, it's the one. This one I just turned off is the old response before I put the walls up or the other curtain for the door, which I'll show you here in a second. And so that's the one that's got that. The one that's up there now is the final response with everything in place, like I said, outside of those foam panels. And maybe some flooring reconfiguration. So it actually boosted the treble a bit, which I guess makes sense. Well, not so much, actually I guess it's more mid-range, under 200 hertz. Which I guess makes sense. It's a reflection. Everything else is either the same or a little boosted. I mean, actually, most of that boost is just because I'm not recording the same volume. I really should have figured out which volume on the AVR I'm using. But you can still see the relative difference, which is really all that matters. So that's it for the measurements. Here is the back of the wall. You can see, there's a box there. Like I said, not a lot of room to work. So that little yellow cutout, or future cutout, is what I need for the projector. I did double check both the full screen and the shifted 235, just to make sure nothing funny was going on. So that is what I need to cut out. And then these walls haven't been secured yet. I'll do that once I cut them. The curtain rod is a little further back than I probably should have did it. So I'm gonna actually, and I tried to go flush under the beam with that first one. These ones I can't really do that with. I'm gonna have to go back a bit. So I'll probably attach a thin piece of wood to give me the height that I need, because it needs to come down a little bit. And I'll just screw into that, so that should give me the depth that I need. I got the other rod up. So like I said, this was something they were throwing away a rack that used to have our winter gloves and stuff on it from last year. I figured, hey, that could be a cute little curtain rod if I ever need something for, for the home theater. And that worked out pretty much perfect. So that bracket came today. And then it just does that. Okay, there is a gap at the bottom, but when the lights are off, no one's ever gonna see that. And this is what it looks like from this side. So like I said, the only thing I really need to do is those foam panels right there, 2 across. Basically, I think what I'm going to do, more or less, is I'm going to center. They kind of make like a big square in the middle. Let's see. Come here. Something more like that. Was it that big before? Actually, I think it was more like that. Although now that I'm looking at it, that might be an option. We'll see. I'll see which one I like better. But essentially, I'm going to take that big square, which probably means I'm going to do it like that. Kind of do the center point at the center of the couch. And I figure that would be the most aesthetically pleasing, because then the 2 lines will practically go to the edge of the curtains, versus trying to just line them up exactly in the middle, because then the pattern's going to be shifted from the center point, since this whole thing is shifted because the projector is shifted. So I figure that's going to look the best. And that's that. So I got the tablet out, sitting right here. I already bought and installed the Odyssey app, which I had started a calibration just to kind of be ready for it. And then it's like, well, why can't I do measurements in RU? Why isn't it not letting me change inputs? It's because the calibration was in. So I had to actually back out of that to get those measurements in. But there you go. There is the tablet with the Odyssey app. So I'm going to spend, the hour or so it takes to do that. I should probably run it after those foam panels are on. But honestly, I'm just kind of wanting to get it done. I suppose I could also, I have enough of the foam pads that I'm using to mount. I suppose I could put them up there temporarily, especially since I'm not actually going to go ahead and move the wood to the in-laws anymore, since I'm going to get the jigsaw here. I might put up a couple of panels just to kind of get the effect that it's going to need, because I really don't want to have to run Odyssey more than once, not fully at least. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. Alright, so that'll be the next one. I'll have the foam panels up, and I'll start doing the Odyssey thing. Not really sure what else is going to be in that video, because I'm not going to film the Odyssey process. It's kind of boring, more than this already is. So, I don't know. But I don't really want to add any more to this video either, though, especially once I cut it all together. It's probably going to be kind of long. We'll see. In case I'll do it separate. It'll just be a shorter video or whatever. So, thanks for watching. That'll be it for this one. I'm going to go ahead and get to work on this Odyssey calibration and see how it goes. Talk to you later. Thanks.